Well, hi, welcome back to our story time from the Children's Bible in 365 Stories. I'm Reverend Mundell. I'm glad you are with us. I hope you're being safe at home as we're still under some quarantine. I hope those who are in school are enjoying the online school and are doing okay with that. Whatever you're doing, always be reading and learning because it's important and we are people meant to always be learning and growing, and that is a good thing. Well, we're going to jump into story 8 today. We just got done with story 7, which was the beginning of a couple of stories that run together, and it was jumping ahead into Genesis chapter 7 we are now, and the first part of the story had a person named Noah called by God to build an ark. And the reason he was building an ark is because God was looking at the world he had created, and the people, the humans that he loved so much, had become so wicked that they were ignoring him, not wanting anything to do with God, not listening to God. And Noah was the one person he found who was faithful. So he said, I need to just start over with this. I'm going to wipe all the people out. And told Noah to build a boat for him, his wife, his 3 sons, their 3 wives, and then was going to put all kinds of animals and birds and food into that boat and use a big flood to wipe everything out and start over again in the hopes of having more faithful people after this event. So we're continuing with story 8 called Rain, Rain, Rain. For a long time, Noah went on building his boat and trying to persuade people to change their ways and tell God they were sorry for the bad things that they had done, both to each other and in just not listening to God or caring about God. They were even making fun of Noah, but Noah kept warning them anyway. He did not get mad or upset with them. He warned them because he didn't want to see them destroyed. He didn't want to see them lost. He wanted them to know God in the way that he knew God. Then one day the hammering stopped. Noah's ark was finished, but there was still plenty of work to be done. Food must be gathered and made ready for all the passengers, human and animal. Then the animals had to be collected. Noah's family worked as hard as he did. At last the preparations were done. It is time to go into the ark, God said. Go in, Noah, with your family and all the animals. The rain will begin in a week's time. In that week, Noah got everything and everyone stowed on the boat. At the end of the week, the rain began to fall, as God had said it would. When Noah and his family and all the animals were safely on board, God shut the door of the ark. The rain fell night and day without stopping. Soon, the torrential downpour began to swell the streams and rivers. Water lapped the bottom of the huge ark. After the water rose, the wooden boat creaked and groaned and shifted. Then gently the water began to lift the ark. They were afloat. The huge craft began to drift slowly, buffeted by rain and floods. But Noah had done his work well. The ark was safe and watertight, with everything in it that God wanted to be in it. Gradually, as the floodwaters rose higher, all the well-known landmarks disappeared. Soon, even the tops of the highest hills were covered by the water. There was nothing to see but water all around. People and animals had all disappeared beneath the flood. Can you imagine that much water? I have flown over the ocean, and there's a lot of water. And I have gone to the beaches on the ocean and looked out and water as far as the eye could see. But can you imagine being here in Ripon and having water so high that we couldn't even see the top of the church? It was underwater. That's just astounding. That would be a terrifying thing to see. I mean, in some ways, it'd be kind of cool if we could swim down into the water and explore the church underwater. That would be kind of neat if we could do it safely. But it'd also be awful at the same time because of all the damage the water would do. So just, I mean, it's amazing to think about the water slowly covering everything so that nothing you knew could be seen, and all that was left was the water. For 6 weeks, the rain fell. Can you imagine 6 weeks? Can you imagine 2 weeks of rain, let alone 6 weeks of rain? Wow, that's a lot of rain, and that's a long time. I would get tired of the rain. I went to school for a little while in a state called Oregon, and it would rain for 2 weeks straight, all day long, every day. But it was not a hard rain. It was just a light rain, but it was annoying because you had to have a raincoat on all the time. And some of the people who I was out there with who had lived their whole life there would say it this way: "Oh, it only rains 3 or 4 times a year for 2 or 3 weeks at a time." And I'm thinking, nope, I don't want that much rain. I like it to rain for a day and then to be nice and sunny for a few days and rain once in a while when needed, but not too much. But it rained for 6 weeks, it says in the story. 6 weeks it rained. But God had not forgotten Noah and his family. At last, as he had promised, the rain stopped. So our story ends with Noah and his wife and his 3 sons and their wives all safely tucked away in the giant boat with all these animals and birds and food, floating on water with nothing in sight in any direction, and not knowing how all of this is going to change or what's going to happen, but knowing that they're following God and what God asked, and they're simply trusting. And it's a reminder of us do we trust in God and what God wants for us and hopes for us and believes in us capable of. And that's the story is there to kind of remind us of that, and to remind us that God does care about not just us but all of creation. That God wants to see what God has made flourish, to thrive, to do well, to be really great and useful for everybody in a good way, and that we're a part of that. And that's awesome to remember that and to think about that. Well, there's some more parts to the story, and we will get to them soon. You be safe at home, and you have a blessed day.